today's last sponsor of the lecture is by PTC, our biggest sponsor this year. And as I've heard, it's going to be fast workshop. And yeah, please welcome Jonathan, Alexander, and Ryan. And they're going to talk to you what PTC does, and we'll do some exercise, as far as I know.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us. As said, we're from PTC, and I'll just tell you a little bit about PTC and what we do, so you get a little background on the company and who we are and where we come from. But today is kind of a workshop we're going to be doing over UX storyboarding. So I understand you guys are a bit into the process, but UX storyboarding will get into why it's useful when you're creating digital experiences like you guys are in the hackathon. So we'll get into all that. It should be hopefully an enjoyable experience. So PTC has been a company traditionally started in the CAD field, so parametric CAD and product lifecycle management. And in recent years, they've made a big push into IoT and augmented reality. So they have kind of helping companies design, develop, manufacture for a connected world. So it's a pretty interesting space, a real cool space that we get to be a part of and kind of help the emerging, be a part of that emerging technology and going out to the field and seeing what our customers are able to do with it. So it's a pretty big company. We're right now in Needham, but we're moving to the Seaport, to a brand new building. So it's a pretty exciting time to be at the company. I think about 6,000, 7,000 people globally within the company. So if you haven't heard of the company, feel free to check out the website, ptc.com. We do a lot of interesting stuff in like emerging technology space. So us, the three of us, are part of the academic team. And there's three kind of main components to the academic team. So we support university sales and software and support. So professors may want to use our technology in the classroom. So we have a team that sells and supports that. We also this year just launched a platform for training in IoT and AR online. So for the consumer market and also for our partners and our customers. So we've created a similar to something like Coursera or Code School, where we're building out courses with a lot of content and media around building out IoT products. So we have a development team, curriculum developers, we have designers and animators that are all working towards making this content and putting it out there. And then kind of the third part, we do a lot of research in order to teach. We have to learn, and so we know what we're doing and know what we're teaching. So part of that is we're developing ed tech products to help our learners understand fundamentals around how to build actual IoT products and AR products. So we have this lab called the Convergence Lab where we all work, and we get to work on a lot of fun projects from research to actual products that we're putting out into the field people are using. So that is a little bit about where we come from. My name is Jonathan Berkey, and I lead the UI and the UX for the academic team. My background, I've worked as creative director in tech companies in Boston, worked in the UI UX roles, as well as I have a background in media and animation. And I'll let these guys introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Alexander. I'm an applications engineer. My area of expertise is augmented reality development. Before I worked for PTC, I worked for a bunch of startups building IoT products, and then I've also done some like specialty engineering firm stuff, whether it be building refrigeration systems for spacesuits or child testing, stuff like that. So kind of a wide array of stuff.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. Thanks for having us. I'm a project manager on the team. Make sure our projects are delivered on time, work with these fabulous gentlemen on the projects we're working on. Prior to this, I co-founded 2 startups in the VR EdTech space and was a graduate student at Harvard. So here I am.
Yeah, so we have a pretty diverse team. Like I said, we have animators, illustrators, curriculum developers, software developers, AR developers, UI, UX people. So it's a pretty interesting place. We're all collaborating together for a real cool environment. And much like you guys bringing your different skill sets in, develop a pretty cool digital experience. So I'm going to share with you a framework that we use when we're creating digital experiences. We call it the digital experience process, or DX process for short. And so we use this whenever we're approaching a project, and it has 4 parts, the way we look at it. So we have the discovery phase, design phase, our develop phase, and our deploy phase. So the exercise we're going to do today really revolves around the discovery. So when you have a use case or a problem that you're trying to solve, the different things that you're really looking at, trying to figure out and build out the project requirements. So you're doing research, you're identifying personas or interviews of your current users, maybe of an existing product, or it's a new product and you're contacting people who are potential users of your software or your product. You're also doing journey maps, things kind of looking at who your users are and how they go throughout their day and the process. And UX storyboarding is a piece of this as well. And that's kind of what we're going to talk a little bit about today, and have you guys work together in creating your own with a use case that we'll provide for you. So the discovery phase is pretty important. It kind of lays the roadmap for the whole experience that you're trying to build. So what is UX storyboarding? So UX storyboarding is a way for us to visualize and predict and discover how users will engage with our product, how they interact with it. So it's really about figuring out who that user is and what kind of interactions they need to take in order to be successful, right? You may have an app for ordering pizza. We always have lunch, and the ultimate goal is to have your pizza delivered to you and eat it and be full and enjoy that experience. But there's a whole process that goes into figuring out how does that person go from the need to having that need fulfilled. And UX storyboarding is a great exercise for kind of thinking through those problems and really kind of getting into the shoes of your user. So there's a couple things that storyboards should convey. Storyboards should convey the settings. So who are your users? So identifying those people who will be using your product or experience. What environment are they in when they're using this? Is it a factory? Are they on the road? In a classroom? At a party? And then what are they actually trying to accomplish? What is that task? The next is sequence. So how does this interaction move them forward to that end goal, to accomplishment? Or here is satisfaction, which is what are they actually looking to do? What does success look like in this interaction? And so some of the benefits of using storyboarding early on in this discovery phase when you're thinking about your projects. So you can focus on the interactions. You're not committing to design right now. You're really looking at very high level, leaving the detail out, and looking at what are the steps that I need to take through this. So maybe in the discovery phase I've learned that my experience is going to require some wearables, or I'm in a busy factory environment and I need to have a head-mounted display because I need my hands free in order to do that. So then how do I interact with the world or with my software the product that I'm building? And it also helps you get your stakeholders on board. So you may have other people who you're working for perhaps, or that you need to partner with, and they may have ideas, and so this is a good way to collaborate with them. But it's also a good way to show them that you're going in the right direction, that you are have an idea that it makes sense and that you can move forward with that, and they can get that buy-in. That's pretty critical. So what we have a example use case that we'll walk through, and we'll show you what UX storyboard would look like. And so our use case here, so we're a busy city, we're in Boston, and we need a way to find metered parking and pay for that parking. So that's our use case. Pretty simple task, right? A lot of people are driving and they need a place to park. So then we've also created a persona, and this is a pretty basic persona. As you can see, we have some demographic information. And depending on what your use case is, you may want to go down to what this person's family structure looks like, what their salary range is. There's a lot of different information you could include in this if you needed to, depending on that use case. Excuse me. And so our our persona, we like to name them, so Dora's driver. So, you know, she's trying to get to a location, find her parking. So she has some goals, right? She's a account sales representative, so she travels around. So we need to keep that in mind. And her goal is to find parking near her clients. So, you know, garages aren't always accessible, and she kind of needs to be in and out quickly sometimes. And she also, meetings might go long, so she needs to be able to extend her time without running out to the meter to fill it. So that's important to her. Some of her challenges: she travels in high traffic areas. She's constantly on the move. She doesn't always have change with her, and she can't get out to extend the meter time, right? And her values are convenience, saving time, and dependability. So these are kind of to give you a picture to help you gain empathy for who your user is. Put yourself in their shoes a little bit and understand, like, what do they want to get out of this experience? How can I serve them better? This is all kind of that exercise. So we know, what do we know? That, you know, Doris wants to find metered parking, and she wants to pay for it. So this is kind of where we start with our UX storyboarding. We kind of have the beginning and the end that we can go with. It's all the middle, and how do we get there? What does that look like? That's really the fun part too. So again, we have our problem. We have our driver and our end goal of parking and going away. So we'll walk you through a storyboard that we did as example, and then we'll share with you a use case that we've created for you and a persona we've created for you guys to be able to go through and make your own storyboards and then share them. So here we go. We have all these frames to fill, which is pretty sweet, and we'll go ahead and let that run. So as you can see, the first frame, we have our driver, and they're using a navigation app. And so in this situation, we thought, you know, there's an alert when they're near their destination. Their alert just simply allows them to tap, and it reserves a meter for them. So these meters are obviously connected. So when we build out our requirements, we'd be like, if there's not connected meters already, we need, you know, to manufacture or develop something for the industrial use case. But it also, their app then, once it's reserved, reroutes them to that parking spot that's near their destination. They arrive at their spot, they simply select the amount of time that they want, and they pay. The meter updates itself to pay, and then they go on their merry way, so Doris can go to her client meeting and have her, the whole purpose why she's there is to have her meeting with you know, her customers. So as you can see from this, you know, there actually might be more detail than should be there, but we've kept it pretty simple. Some things that you can do is write descriptions in and outside of this, but as you can see, we really looked at, okay, where are we starting and where do we want to end? And what's the simplest way to get there for our user? What's the easiest way for them to interact? So many of us are already using you know, navigation when we're driving, and it's often on our mobile devices. So that's something that is pretty attainable, and most people already have that with them. And we thought, you know, a simple alert that would alert them when they're near their spot will give them the opportunity, like, hey, we have spots, do you want one? And it's less distracting, right? We're driving, so we don't really have a lot of opportunity to interact with our phone, right? Especially to be safe drivers. We need something that's pretty easy to understand and see. Then there's a whole system around reserving the meter. So there's a whole feedback loop here. Once it's reserved, it gives them, that person gets a feedback by saying, hey, here's your new destination. So that user you know, needs that kind of feedback so they know how to progress with their journey. So as we said, we have an exercise that we have for you guys that we hope you really enjoy and get some value out of. And I'm going to share with you the use case. And so the use case is currently technicians at Acme International have a manual process of doing service requests in the factory that rely heavily on paper tickets, vague information, and cumbersome manuals. So operations has decided to build a digital experience that improves this process. The requirements for the experience are finding malfunctioning robots, robot arms, and performing a repair or replace service to fix that problem. So that's the use case, which we have handouts that have the use case and the persona. So we have a persona here that we have, so it's Techie Tim. He's a service technician. And he's a service technician too, actually, so he's been there a little while. And his goals are to reduce his time for repair. So we want to be thinking about how can we assist him in like doing repair services quicker. And he wants to become a top technician, so this probably has something to do with speed and efficiency. So his challenges are he has a large facility, so finding his way around may be an issue. The high demand for service, there may be a lot of tickets logged. Multiple types of robots and machinery. You know, that's where maybe the service manuals are pretty large because there's a lot of different types of machines that he needs to be able to remember how to do. So, and then his values are time, simplicity, and direct feedback. So similar to the feedback that when you reserve that parking spot, you were redirected, that's feedback from the system telling you that, hey, there's been a change. So I have a few kind of storyboarding tips to help you along the way, which we'll post along with an image of a robot arm, so maybe you have a visual to help you as you're thinking about what they might need. So tips for storyboarding, stick to high-level concepts and interactions. The detail, you don't really need to include a lot of detail here. And think about your persona, have that empathy, and their end-user goals. You can write descriptions and labels under or around your frames as you draw them to help kind of give more context. And arrows can show movement and action in a scene. So if somebody's moving out of the scene or something is happening that you need to show movement to, simple arrows work great. This is a working draft, it's iterative. There may be several different paths that one could take to be successful and to have that satisfaction. You can take away and erase, scratch out boxes. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's all about that phase of discovery and learning how to progress through your experience. And you don't have to be great artists. UX storyboarding is not about beauty, it's about solving problems and figuring out solutions. So stick people, star people are perfect. Simple shapes, and again that helps with leaving detail out. So what we have is we have storyboard paper and the use case and personas. We have, if you don't have anything to write with, we have Sharpies if you want to use something big, which helps you keep down on the detail, and pencils as well that will pass around. And we'll go ahead, you guys are already in your team. So I'll leave this up here during the exercise. We also, if you have any questions or want to run things by us, we're happy to come and talk with you and participate with you. So when we're finished, we're going to do about 25 minutes around for this, and then we're going to have you team up with another team and share what you created. So maybe you can see how somebody else approached the situation differently and get feedback on that.
So can one person from each team raise their hand? Hi.
Great team.
So can you find another person, group, and sit together as closely as possible?
Maybe
I
great.
think
We want to go before. We can even
If
before.
you don't have a team,
I'm down.
form a team, 2 to 3, 4, 5.
Tag on with an existing team, do whatever, like problem solvers, we have faith.
So go ahead and do that and pass out these sheets.
And if you need pencils and Sharpies.
What is it? I'm trying to do the AWS thing right now. Photos are displaying right now. Yeah, man, we did it.
Pencil, Sharpies, both.
You guys, it's
You're trying to hold my hands on it? Don't hold my hands.
I was like he knows it's a small club, like,
Oh my god, hey, you wanna go? Have a drink?
yeah. I'm going with at 4 p.m. and then getting dinner and then going again at 7 p.m.
Wait, you're going again?
No, I promise it's multiple people required. What the?
So your arms not get better after you've done it enough?
Yeah, eating food helps. wanna come with me and Adam, or wanna come with me, Alex, Joanne, Michael, or maybe somebody else?
I have to think about what I have to do for shopping. Shopping's done, but what is not done is shopping.
Who's the team over here?
So I don't know either. I can just do it tomorrow after class and say that we give out it's at the hackathon, or I just can like buy it on Amazon and ship it to their address. Like, there's several other ones that have to be.
So we can announce them like on the awards. It seems like more appropriate. I don't know, like up to you, but it seems like it. Oh, but
I don't know,
also
it's
you
a
need to
little
like
random.
raffle
Yeah, I
tickets.
don't know. It's a little random, I think, to do that though. Because it's like people are getting a voice on the website to be like, and an iPad for people who attend the lecture.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh,
Are you
we
guys
already
all
got
set?
one. Okay. Yo, team, we have one. Okay.
One thing we'll do is just facilitate some walk around and stuff.
Do you have pens? Yo, John.
If you have any questions, just
Do you have pens? Should I ask for Sheldon?
Oh wait, I actually have hair.
you guys usually do activities like this.
Oh, I thought you said pants.
Honestly, we have technical like 1 years.
I have pants.
You got pens on?
That's why I thought you asked. I was like,
Wait. Oh, that counts. Wait, so like, can you state what do we, what is the challenge we're taking?
We have a problem, let's figure out what
we have this boy. He wants to be. He wants to become the top technician.
What kind of followers might be?
Wait, are these like his personal goals?
Yes, that's his personal.
And this is his personal challenge? Because it seems like large facility is not his personal challenge.
Or might be.
I think it is.
I don't think high demand for service is a challenge.
No, I mean, it is, right? It's like his job requires like this
To be in a large facility so he doesn't walk around.
Guys,
maybe.
some pencils and Sharpies. Yeah, we got pencils too.
We have pens.
Alright. Well, we have them up front if anyone
I
needs
didn't
it.
want to make it too technical.
Sorry,
So
guys.
just download the app and
Oh.
try out the
You're mine. Do you have more? Do you have
Ryan,
I don't know if I should be flying.
are we out of the personas?
Oh, no.
I'm
You talking about the doodle paper or like the persona?
What do you need? Everything?
It's more fold.
You can also put that
Yeah, the use case of the persona. You guys need pencils and Sharpies?
Wait, so like for navigating big facility, you can use like some drivable thing, right? Like a skateboard.
Yeah, we'll get, sorry.
Like you know the hoverboards that they use in, they actually use them in warehouses.
You guys have persona.
The 8-person bikes.
Can you work with
That's not useful for one
They don't have
technician.
a persona sheet.
Oh, we only have one moving on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm clear.
Indeed.
I also don't really know. But I'm trying to.
I do. We should give them an 8% bike.
You posted.
I mean, like have a ticket service, right? So everyone that like goes around and they're like, hi, this thing's broken. And then submit a ticket request. Like, this is broken. And then have you send it to people sitting there. Yeah.
He's a technician in a facility and he fixes things around the facility.
Yeah. And like right now it's annoying because it is required heavily on paper tickets, making positions, and completion.
Oh, so the solution they're asking for is like some tech app that you use to like submit your tickets and like and somehow maybe the app like figures out a plan to like sort things by urgency and like have a plan how to go around the whole facility without moving way too much.
Yeah, or like if you like have an idea, like you see this is broken, then you can like send a picture and be like, oh, this part is broken, so you can check the entire machine. What about Daniel?
He pulled 4 pulleys or something.
So he's not.
Yeah, he's out for more than a week.
He's out.
So basically,
But yeah, so we have.
start cases like user and
So Ryan, for our IoT super project, Molly threw out a pretty aggressive suggestion. So she constantly has to set up networks. I'm gonna build this. And she was like,
Hey Ryan,
play your library.
That's
literally what that is.
How you would solve the problem. So it's been calculated to the end on like your solution. And it's basically like each image is meant to be like a step along your aspect to solve the problem. And then
Sounds too hard. Anything
No,
that's
like, we need something simple, right? Instead of paper tickets, you have an app where you submit your work
very simple
order.
thing.
And then maybe like on top of it, you have planning, right?
yeah, that's enough
Draw this, so then that's it. It's just like what
This is like a comic book. You're like writing a story.
Okay, so
It's like
that's it.
it's like remember on the slides that has a slide where like a woman was looking for a parking spot. She's like driving and then notification comes out.
So this storyline is
You might want to join
this storyline is getting the issue solving.
like it's like a group solving.
yeah.
So now this person.
So, you look at the process there.
Yeah, so we may have 2 storyboards. One is like when somebody has something broken, they like
Submitting
submit
ticket
an
and
order.
resolving it.
No, it doesn't even start with the person with a phone. Oh, it's like person with a yeah. So like they're like, oh, this machine is broken. Oh, how about I take a picture? Hey, we got it.
Yeah, hopefully.
No, it's totally different.
I don't think we have a second storyboard, but the team, the techie.
It's fine. I know you guys are going first. I didn't know.
A lot of people say the first time working.
Yeah. That's a good thing to think about when you're
For sure.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Some things are
What? She spoke Spelled what? She spoke phone.
Yeah.
Reporting to the police.
Yeah.
I'm gonna report you to
so
pure decoupling.
doing something like this.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I like this.
Are you moving to Boston as well?
Yeah.
That's what she threw out, so like you can set like, it's basically like reality editor, but for setting up a network. Like you can choose your
Yeah, I think so.
firewall settings and your proxies and just like drag and drop and put it together
I
and be
think they
like,
start the end.
good, ship it.
Like in the spring.
She's like, because I was bitching about our demo networks and how it's always a problem. She's like, why don't you guys build a tool for that? Like,
Yeah, it's good.
she's like, you guys do enough traveling demos on enough different random ass places where you're always in your own network. Like, why do you not have a tool to set that
That's
up?
funny, I had two completely distinct, interesting.
There's definitely one that I had not considered.
One of my,
Yeah, I mean, what that would end up being would be us getting a, bless you, it'd probably be do it on cellular, right? And then set up a local network off the cellular beacon. Or I guess, yeah.
So like that's awesome. So like
that's really
What I
sick.
set
they're
up
really
pretty
good
much
connections.
pi
This is
out
3
from
bit.
that.
This is 4 bit. That's all I know. 1, 2, 3.
I think also did like, I think in university, like,
Why was I conducting the German game?
I don't know. program. I went to that.
Yeah, that's
He didn't care about like
What's your name?
Aaron.
Aaron?
He didn't care about their code.
Yeah.
Like the smallest things.
Yeah.
I was like thinking about it.
Yeah, we were just, I was actually thinking about
I probably can knowing my
Hey, you guys think TC still sleeping?
Yeah, I know.
What did you check out?
Like actually, I've heard some.
What was he doing?
He's probably playing baseball.
I should schedule something.
Which
Courtney's not good, right?
No.
how was he playing baseball?
Okay.
Courtney has a Snorlax. And he plays baseball.
Yeah.
No, real baseball.
Well, like whenever I hear like German and Alex and Chinese, that's what I assume baseball is.
Dude,
That's awesome.
we just sit around and play leagues. Like, that is the entirety of our league.
And then you get bugged.
Jonathan. Yeah. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for having us out.
Oh my god, all the prices rose. Feels bad. So sad.
Have stock. Oh, for tickets.
We have
I do have stock though. Let me check my Pure Storage stock. Oh hey, here's a receipt from Aaron's Taqueria.
we have a lot of it.
What's your after? I said I could reimburse your after.
Actual storyboarding.
One guacamole. Did you eat that guacamole?
Yes, I need the guacamole. Otherwise, I couldn't have been a good instructor in my. Yeah, that's right. Very important. What am I doing? I pull my phone. Oh, check my stock.
That's pretty fun. We have a lot of
Oh, sad. Stock drop.
Yeah. No, I'm just watching. Someone has some questions.
Sounds good.
Jackie Liu asked me, what is 648 hacker?
Jackie Liu?
Yeah, she's
Jacqueline
like,
Liu? The Simmons one?
no, it's cameras.
Oh.
And she asked, are there gonna be snackeronis?
Okay, space. Got
You
it.
snackeroni. Good job, Joanne. You're our team's carry.
Wait, okay.
How does it become
Wait. This is how somebody submits a problem, right? But text Jackie is gonna. He's
He
fixed.
fixed the problem.
Oh.
Got it. This is left half, right.
How about we make another solution where he has like the stage when the app knows all the different things that are broken and like he figures out the path around the building. Alright, let's do it. You got this.
Okay, wait. So
Here's the different color pen for all of
Well, like at this point we already have the problem setting. Let's draw like the solution part where there's like app that calculates the flag.
I see.
So like you have like you can have like one slide where it's like in app like it has a list of all the problems, and then the next step is like the app figures out the path, and then the next step is like the person is running around like building in the correct place.
So confusing.